because a lot of what I was going to talk about has already been covered in a lot of what we've already talked about. So is there anyone in here that does not want to sponsor anyone? It's okay if you don't want to. Nobody raised their hand. Good.
All right.
All right. Because
That's
really,
on share.
yeah, there's parts of Premier that will hit your life in different ways that you never expected them to. And sponsoring is one of those ways, at least for me. I knew I wanted to sponsor because I knew I wanted this business to be successful for our family, and I just love the idea. I love training. I love helping people. But there's other things that happen too. So over the summer, I had to have a hysterectomy. I have 5 beautiful kids. I can't complain. I love having a big family. But part of me was like, oh, now my family is done. It can't grow anymore. And one of those hidden blessings that came from Premier is the fact that I can build a Premier family. And so it seems kind of dorky, but on those hard days, I think of that and I think, wow, I have 6 wonderful people in my 10-10-10 that are like my Premier babies, and I get to add to that and grow my family. So think of things in a way that, you know, instead of what can I get out of this right now, just think I'm doing what I'm doing because I love it, and someday this is going to bless me in some way, and maybe someone else too. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's kind of how I think about sponsoring. I love sponsoring. I love everything about Premier, and I want to share it with people. And so when I'm at my shows, this is what I say to them. I say, all right, I'm going to share a little bit about Premier because I absolutely love it. I'm not in the business to drag anyone into Premier because I don't want to have to drag you through Premier. But I share my information with everyone because you never know when this is going to help you, or maybe be something that you could use in your life, or maybe someone that you know, it might help them too. So give me just a couple seconds. I'm going to explain exactly how we make our money, and then I go from there and I do my game. So I tell them right off the bat, I'm not dragging anybody in. That takes off the pressure from them saying, you know, oh, she's going to, hound me and harass me. And I always tell people too when they write their email, I'm like, don't worry, I'm not going to stalk you. I have 5 kids. I don't have time to stalk anybody. I can't keep my own stuff straight, so I kind of make a joke out of it. But it's true. I'm not trying to pull anyone into Premier and force them to do it, because what good is that doing anybody? I don't get anything for signing someone up. If they never do a show, it doesn't do anything for me. So kind of keep that in mind too. We're not pushing anything on anybody. We're really just sharing. And so my focus of the sponsoring today is not the same, like here's a sponsoring game that you should do or what to say or whatever. But really we want to figure out what sets Premier apart and have that focus when we are sitting down and talking to someone. And the number one thing that we have to have is a belief in Premier. And we hear that a lot. We hear that a lot in every aspect of our business. But when you sit down with someone and you say it cost $395 to join Premier, and if you buy the gold kit, it's an additional $750, in their head they're thinking, wow, that's a lot of money. Because you never know what their situation is. But to me, when I signed, I had $5. That was a lot of money to me. But when you sit down and you believe in Premier and you know that the money that they're spending, they're going to make it back and then some, you have that full 100% confidence in that. And that comes across. So it's not like, oh, well, it is $395, but it's okay, you'll make it back. Do you see how that's kind of different? That's one of the things that sets Premier apart, is I've heard in other companies, people, the consultants sit down and try to convince someone that their $100 was a good investment to start a business. If you're trying to convince someone that $100 is a good deal, then it's probably not the best situation necessarily. Does that make sense too? We have the confidence in Premier. So we have to believe in Premier. We heard some amazing things about our jewelry tonight. Believe in your product, but you have to believe in Premier as a company. And I brought a couple things to show you guys to help you do that. Because you might think, oh, I love Premier, I love what it does for me. But until you really get into the heart of Premier and have that belief in Premier, it's hard to convey that to people. You can't tell someone how amazing something is just by explaining it to them necessarily. But that can come through in just how you talk about it, or how how you show your confidence in the company. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's hard to say, oh my goodness, Rally was so amazing, it touched my heart, and it can touch your heart too. That's not something that you can necessarily convey to people through words, but they can feel it. They can feel that you're being genuine, and they can feel that you're really truly believing in what you're doing. So does everybody have this book? It might have a different cover depending on what edition it was. It's called By Chance or By Design. It comes in everyone's jeweler kit. All right. We've now, with the new jewelers coming in, incorporated this as part of our training, is having people read this book. Now, my husband, he's a smart guy, he knows how to read, but he doesn't enjoy it. He chooses not to do it often. He sat down and read this book in 3 days because after Haven, he was just amazed and he wanted to know more about Premier. If you want to know more about Premier, this is the place to do it. This is a book written by Andy. It explains where a company came from. You all have it. It's an easy read, and it's just amazing because it puts in the back of your head where Premier came from and what we stand for and why we started and all of those basic things that we need to know so we can be confident in Premier. And then if you need little things to keep up, there's some amazing other books out there. This is Keeping It Personal, and this is like a daily, it says Daily Wisdom for Today's Woman. And it's just every day of the year, there's a little message in here. Joan wrote this before she passed away. And then Jen read from our Gems from Joan. She's got that there. All books, those are all in the, what's that?
You said that so perfectly.
Thanks, I practiced. That's my one good thing. I get one like really good thing for the day. That was my one. I saved it for that. But those are in the Serve Us store. They're very easy. I think they're just a couple dollars. I recommend getting those. Not that you have to sit down and read now for the next week, but sit down and chip away at these so you can really understand Premier. I think that's going to be the key. That's really the number one key thing, because if you believe in what you're doing, you really want people to do it with you because you know it's going to help them. They can feel that. People know when you're being fake or if you're just, getting something out of it. They can tell. So that's my number one big thing. But here's a list of other things of, things that you can write down, sponsoring things that you really want to know, things that set Premier apart, okay? We are a debt-free company, okay? That means that Andy and Premier owe no one anything. That's a really big deal. I have some good friends that were selling some other great products, some of my favorite things. Their company went bankrupt because the company owed a lot of people a lot of money. In the economy the way that it is, people are unsure about what's going to happen in the future. They want to know that there's some kind of security there. We can count on Premier to be there as long as we choose to be there and working our businesses. That is a huge deal. I've been through 3 stints of my husband being unemployed in the past 12 years that we've been married, and it's rough. I know Premier's going to be there no matter what. They're debt-free. Like Dave was saying earlier, we're a service company. That's different than a lot of the other companies out there. When you go to a training, it's rare that we will sit there and tell you, here's how to sell people more jewelry. Now, if you're having a hard time with your retail and people just aren't buying at your shows, call your Premier mom. There's nothing wrong with getting some more training on that. But as a whole, our company is not about the numbers and what we sell. I think that's part of the reason why our Amazing Hostess plan is just at $100 minimum to qualify as a show. That's really 2 or 3 orders. That's something that every hostess can meet. In my 1.5 years, I've had only one person who didn't meet that out of all the shows I've held. I think that's pretty amazing. So keep that in mind too. Know that Premier is our safe place, okay? And it seems like kind of an abstract thing to write down, but if you have a grumpy day and you come to a Premier training, don't you always feel better when you leave? If you call your Premier mom, it's your safe place. You know you can call her, you can say anything to her. She's going to love you no matter what. How many people think that about their 9-to-5 job? Nobody?
Actually, I don't.
Good.
I like my job.
That's great. And I'm not saying that you have to leave that to do Premier. So stay there, but now you can have 2 safe places. I don't have a safe place because my youngest is 3 and he follows me in the bathroom. I have Premier. I'm around grown-up people. It's great. And they still let me talk. I don't know why. Another thing that sets us apart is our 50% profit. Now, there are a couple other companies that offer 50%, but to follow that up, one of them is not a company that I don't think a lot of people are comfortable with. You can ask me later what it is. I don't really want to announce it to the whole room. It's adult toys. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Adult toys. They do make 50% of what they sell, but that's not my cup of tea. If it is yours, great. Have fun with that. And then there's other like cosmetic companies that offer 50% also. But to follow that up, the backside of that is in Premier we make 50%. And the only thing that we have to pay out is our jeweler share, which at the most, if there's no promotion going on, would be $20. So of my 50%, I'm only paying $20 to close a show, and that means that my hostess got all of her gift cards and all of these bonuses and everything else in another company that offers 50% that I was part of for a long time, if I gave anything to my hostesses, it came out of my pocket. I bought it at my 50%, which was great, but I still had to pay for that. Tax deduction, yes. Income level, not very high. Okay, that's one of the things that sets us apart. So not only is our hostess plan amazing, that our hostesses are getting a ton of free jewelry, our jewelers are still making a ton of money off of their shows because we have that system in place with our jeweler shares, which is a huge deal. So I really think that sets us apart. And another thing that I was asked last week at the OP, so I'm doing the OPs on the third Tuesdays of the month now at Panera, so I'd love for you guys to bring people to come, sit and listen to me. We had some fun discussions last time. Christy was there with some of her girls. We had a good time, but one of the questions I was asked is, are we a pyramid scheme? Has anyone else ever heard that? People ask you that? Yeah, people are worried about that because they know that that's illegal and it's not something that, benefits really anyone. So I looked up a pyramid scheme to figure out exactly what it was. And so I'm going to pull up my screenshot here so I can read to you. Because I know we are not a pyramid scheme. I mean, that's obvious. But this is what a pyramid scheme is. So if anyone asks you why we're not that, this is what it is. A form of investment, and in parentheses it says illegal in the U.S. and elsewhere, in which each paying participant recruits 2 further participants, with returns being given to the first participants using money contributed by the later ones. So it's like adding people to your team, and the money that they pay is what pays these people up here. In our 10-10-10, none of that money that we get in our commission checks monthly for having a team comes from our team. It all comes from Premier. They're thanking us for mentoring them and training them and helping them build their business by giving us that 10%. We're not a pyramid scheme. Yes, you can make a lot of money sponsoring people, but we don't make any money as a sponsor until someone on our team has done something. That means they're getting paid first. They went out and had a show, they're getting paid first, and then Premier says thank you because you just helped that person make money, and that's how they give it to you. So that's one of the things that sets us apart too from other companies. And here's one other big tip that I find. Am I just about out?
No, we were saying that was
No, that
very
was very
well
good.
how you explained that.
Okay.
Very good.
So this is one thing I wrote down. I wrote, don't be a bully about other companies. Now, even if you've participated in another company, I've seen a lot of different posts, especially on the Facebook Jewelers page. People say, oh, I'm talking to so-and-so and they're looking into this company. Tell me all about that company so I can tell them not to do it. That's really not going to get you anywhere. Because I can tell you, even with the company I was with for 11 years, I still get a little bit defensive of them because I was part of it for so long. You don't want to put somebody in a place where they're going to be defensive, whether they've already made that decision or not, because then they're not going to listen to you. Just like we were saying, we need to make sure that we believe in Premier, so that comes out. We want to make sure that we're not being the bully. We don't want to say, oh, well, that company does this and that company does that. We can never convince anyone into joining Premier. You can only explain to them exactly what they can get out of it, and then let them make the decision. And a lot of times, I bet the people that, if they decide to do something different besides Premier, they'll probably come back to you anyway. 3 of the people that are on my team are people that were with other companies, people that I've sponsored, and I don't want to say that I sponsored them out of those companies, but they know that I did something else. They know that I had something to compare it to, and they wanted to know why Premier was different. And like I said, it's hard to share the heart, but when I talk to them about Premier, I'm 100% confident in what we have. I didn't have to bully their company. I didn't have to say, oh, well, you'll make more money here, or our products are better. It was none of that bullying. Does that make sense too? You're never going to get anyone anywhere, get yourself anywhere by putting anyone else down.
And I think when you're confident like that, I used to apologize for that $3.95. I don't anymore because it's a good value of what they're getting.
Right.
And I believe in that, and so it comes across like that. It doesn't come across like, oh, no, it's $3.95, but hold on.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it comes across like it's $3.95 and you get all of this.
Right,
So.
exactly. So I guess your main homework from all of this is to go home and make sure that you really believe in Premier. I mean, you're here on this freezing cold night where the roads were all horrible today. You believe in it at least this much. Try to, work on that and make sure that your confidence in the company itself and the product is really right where it needs to be. Did you have a question?
I was just going to say that I'm sure other people do this too, but whenever I talk about it being a debt-free company, I talk about how the company itself is debt-free, but then they also work really hard to keep us debt-free.
Right.
In the sense that what we pay out for our business is not even comparable to what we're coming in.
That's a good point too.
So to kind of bring it to the personal level
Right.
too.
That's very good. Thank you. So really quick, just to wrap up, I want to share a couple things, and this was from one of the videos from Rally, and I don't know if anyone was there remembers this one. We searched and searched, we just could not find this video. Premiere must be holding tight to it, but it was
I just got a response back. They're gonna get more information, and I'll probably have it for
Okay.
next training.
Oh, good, maybe we'll have it next time. Do you have the other one?
I
Can we
can- yeah,
still show that?
yeah.
While he gets that set up, this was the video, if you were there, of all the words like scrolling across the screen, and then you'd hear Andy's voice, then you'd hear Joan's voice, and Andy's voice, you know. So I knew this was coming up, so I kind of scribbled down the main ones that stuck out to me. So at Rally, knowing that I was doing this training, this is what I wrote down of why Premier is unique. Joan said that we are going into homes with hope. There's not a lot of companies out there that's our main goal, is to go into people's homes. There's a lot of online companies right now. There's a lot of places you can order stuff from. But we're going into people's homes. We're going where they're most comfortable, and they're letting us in, and we're bringing them hope. That's a really big deal. Another thing that scrolled was serving people, keeping it personal, honoring God, enriching lives, and caring for each other. And I really liked the caring for each other was a really big deal, because it's not just that we're caring for our hostesses, we're all supported also as jewelers in this company. And so this is, if you go on YouTube, there's a Premier Designs Inc. with our little pink logo here. They have a YouTube channel, and there's a bunch of different testimonies on there. There's different videos that they've posted. That's where you can see like the jewelry videos and stuff like that. And this one is really good. This one is meant to send to our hostesses, and I think really to send to our prospects also, because it's just a really good picture. And we were talking about that heart of Premier. It kind of gives you a little glimpse of that. So we're going to go ahead and watch this.